Hello everybody, welcome to our lockdown interview, and today we've got Simon Pickard of Collier Pickard. So let me just start by saying hello to Simon.
Hi Phil.
Hello Simon. So really the whole purpose of this interview is set up to help people find out more about what you do, Simon, and also to help them understand about what they could do during these tough times we're going through. So hopefully some of the answers that you're going to give are really going to help people. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on. So firstly, could you just explain a little bit more about yourself, what you do and how you help local businesses?
Fine. So first off, many thanks for having us on.
No problem.
I'm Simon Pickard. I'm an account director at Collier Pickard. We're based in Sundridge near Sevenoaks. Collier Pickard are a CRM, a customer relationship management business consultancy. And I can sum us up basically as helping people acquire, retain and develop customers or clients, depending on how you call them. We're going to be engaged purely on an advisory basis or to supply and support a system from a portfolio of products that we've identified with and worked with over many years. So we help people to map their strategic goals and the tactics they're going to use to reach those goals onto a CRM system, optimizing who or what process does what and when.
Superb. So as I understand it, then you don't just implement CRM systems. You might be in a position where you have to tweak the client's CRM system because they don't necessarily need to or want to change it, and you can work with them whatever they've got.
You're right. We often get engaged by people saying, well, they keep saying, it's working, but that just means the light's on, but it's no use to the business. The thing's got to be a personal productivity tool. What's in it for me is the most important question you're going to hear, and you probably want some management information out of it.
Superb. And what I've learned as well is that most people don't really understand what they need a CRM system for and how it can possibly help them. So I'm assuming you're on hand to actually help people, help explain to people, exactly what it could actually do for them and start to open their eyes and minds a little bit about the opportunities and possibilities out there, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not something you're ever going to get right on day one. If you installed a CRM system on the 4th of January this year, your business requirements now are probably very different to what you needed then. So ongoing review of it, educating your users as people change, that's all very important. And I'm a massive fan of review meetings because often you don't necessarily know, you don't want to deploy all the functionality to start off with, or you produce a new business stream and you want to get involved with getting that onto the CRM system. Or as one of our clients said, Simon, when we put this system in, all the staff were old. And so we had to have it something simple because they didn't understand computers. Years down track, they're all a lot younger than I am. And they're nagging me to improve it and make it more sophisticated. So it's going to develop and change over the years.
Fantastic. Good. So obviously we've had an interesting time, shall we say, over the last 3 months. At what point could you see there maybe being an issue commercially, not just for yourselves, but for clients as well? At what point were you starting to get a little bit concerned?
I think very early on, because the massive impact on some of our clients and also on project delivery. We're not particularly B2C, but a number of our clients are. And if you close a shop, you might think, well, we'll do more business off our website. That can take time to ramp up. One of our clients, well-known music chain on the high street, who use the CRM system actually for logging their complaints. If you ring up and say, where's me CD or where's me headphones, all gets recorded on a CRM system. Shut the front doors, 95% of your business goes away. So those guys travel, leisure, education, tourism, all seen a massive drop. And a lot of manufacturers, to say nothing of shipping companies, if nobody's doing anything, you don't need containers shipped anywhere. And then in terms of project delivery, it's very obvious. We're massive believers that face-to-face is best. Whether that's a workshop with requirements gathering or discussing configuring the system, or education of users and administrators, because we're big in knowledge transfer to the client. And you can pretty quickly see that little lot's all going to be very heavily impacted.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So just out of interest then, that leads me on to the next question quite nicely. In terms of how have you changed and how's Collier Pickard changed over the last, well, sort of going into lockdown and during lockdown?
Well, I always say we drink our own champagne. So, you know, the CRM system gives you that single view of what's going on. So we just said to everybody, okay, guys, we're all working from home. We actually told everybody to take home whatever they wanted. So PCs, monitors, chairs, because you haven't always got a chair at home that you want to sit in eight hours a day for business. So
Very true.
we've done that. In terms of how are we doing business, then it's all these it's all moved online, whether that's pre-sales discussions like this, or delivery of training and consultancy. And again, and I'm not just old school, because I hear this a lot from young people as well. People like true face-to-face. You know, you can easily ask questions, and also online, there's a limited time that you actually want to be online on a single session. Our daughter did a 2-day webinar training course, and at the end of it, the bloke said, "Ladies and gentlemen, never ever again am I ever going to do a 2-day course." He said, "I'm just going to go and smoke so many cigarettes, it's not true." So, you know, but obviously what you used to deliver in a full day workshop is now being done in 2-hour sessions. So yeah, you know, we've jumped around. I think flexibility and agility is you know, we were saying back in 1994, what got us where we are today won't necessarily get us where we want to be tomorrow. So you know, yes, there's been lots of changes, and I do find that not seeing people, getting to see clients, it's the subtle bits of that. You know, well, what is in the car park? If you turn up to see a client and there's an array of personalised number plated Porsches, you're taking one view of budgets than if it's all looking frankly shabby. And somebody can just sort of say, "Oh, this bit's really interesting. Hold on a moment. I'll just get Steve and Jen in." You know, that doesn't happen so easily on an online meeting. So yeah, big changes, but we've jumped around and enjoyed making things happen differently.
Yeah, and it certainly tests people. So I don't know who it was that said, the necessity is the mother of invention, and that's been proven several times over in the last 3 months. So just out of interest, what would you say the biggest wins that you've seen for you and your business over the last sort of 3 months or so?
I think we really, customer relationship management, the clue's in the name, but we've really taken the opportunity to try and cement relationships. We decided very early on, people are more isolated when they work at home. There's all sorts of problems around that. But one of the things that you can't do is turn around to somebody and say, "Look, guys, I've completely forgotten how I do this. How do I merge somebody into a template?" So we just emailed all our clients and followed it up with a phone call to say, "Look, guys, in these somewhat tricky times, we're going to change our approach to our support contracts, which really aren't there for training, but, you know, you just need more help. We're going to give you more help." People have really liked that. So it has, and people have said it in writing and come back to us and said, you know, "We appreciate the efforts you've made. We wish our other suppliers were doing." So I think we've jumped to the front of people's minds. We've done some things like, internally, we have a sit and sip session where we just get everybody is on a call, and we just chat about whatever we want, mostly football at the last meeting. we actually do the same thing for clients. We just have a Thursday afternoon session. It's fortnightly now. We ran it weekly for the first 8 or 9 weeks. It's fortnightly now. Clients can just come on and chat about whatever. They could ask questions. Sometimes there are questions about the CRM system, but I think people are just finding it interesting chatting to somebody that's, you know, not a client. We can have a chat and just hear about interesting things other people are doing or other people's businesses has been fascinating. And again, people have been kind enough to sort of say, I think one client put in their newsletter, they'd really liked it. They said, "There's no humble bragging or anything else. We just sit there and chat." So cementing our relationship, because CRM is substantially about not only acquiring and developing clients, but it's about retaining them. And so we've reckoned, let's go out and what we can to retain clients.
Fantastic. No, that's really interesting. I think there have been a few companies that have really stuck out over the last 3 months in terms of becoming visible, helping people, not only, speaking to people when you want to make money, I think is critically important. And I think that the people that have shone through have been the people that have been more visible over the last 3 months, like yourself. So that's fantastic. So in terms of the challenges that you've come up against, what would you say your biggest issues that your business has had to overcome over the last 3 months, Simon?
Well, I think it has been interesting. I mean, one of the things that we have seen is that people are getting around to jobs which they always thought were important, but they weren't urgent. So you've got a whole load of people that are going, oh, crikey, we're not going to be doing anything, for ages. And you've got other people saying, we've been thinking about this for years, now we need to do it. So you've got some people that are actually sort of rushing through the whole process, and we've had people sort of say, well, if we gave you an order today, could we start the day after tomorrow? And you're sort of going, yeah, well, yes. But I think, the main thing that we've seen, biggest issues in a crisis, history speeds up. So things are changing rapidly. And we're therefore spending a lot of time comparing notes about clients, about trends, about what's happening in different sectors. So at first, people were naturally very busy wondering what the new normal was and trying to get to grips with, do I furlough, don't I furlough? And nobody was spending any money. So that's why, we started out making the effort to say, look, guys, we're not expecting orders, but we're happy to hear and help and offer support and guidance. So those challenges, now there is more of a new normal. And we are seeing a lot of businesses still saying, we want to do things, but there are a lot of sectors, again, education, travel, tourism, retail, manufacturing, and their supply chains, where there's long-term impact. I was talking to somebody this morning, and I've been talking to them for the best part of a year, and she just said, Simon, I'm sorry, but with a combination of COVID is slowing everything down and a supply we're not overly happy with, but come back in January. Well, that's it's not good for your forecast. So there have been a range of issues, and I think it's agility. It's that sort of spotting. Where do we need to refocus? Do we need to retool? Are the things that people are going to want when they come out of recession or out of COVID and recession that they didn't want when they went into it? And are we in a position to take advantage of that? So
great questions that you raised there, actually. So just out of interest then, I've been speaking to a lot of people that have made changes during lockdown, and they actually want to just carry on with the new normal, as we put it. Are there changes that you've installed into Collier Pickard that you're going to possibly carry on doing after lockdown's finished and we're all back to normal?
I think one of the things is working from home. Most people don't want to do it all the time. So I think we've got some people that sort of think, be nice to work from home 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And we will obviously accommodate that. We're not somebody that's thinking, close the office because nobody ever wants to come back here ever again. People are missing, banter and everything else.
Yeah.
I think that the meetings like this, Zoom, or frankly, a much more secure version. Chinese government don't like what I'm saying. They cut it off. Fine. So I think this will play a much larger part than it ever did. I can still see myself going up to Southport, but I will be talking to the people in Southport, more often over Zoom. I think that the lockdown has humanized people. One of the local senior partners at one of the local solicitors says, well, now that I've grown a 1970s style mullet, and everybody's seen, my house and my Urban X shirt, it's going to be slightly different when he sees people again in a business context. So I think we've had some humanizing benefits of it. I think what we will do is, you touched on things changing. We'll be reviewing our tactics and our strategic goals, which we've been doing probably fortnightly at the moment. We normally do it twice a year. I think we're probably going to stick with sort of fortnightly, monthly. Guys, are we reacting quickly enough? And you know, and what's going on. And I think the monthly open house for clients, we'll keep that. So there have been new things that have sprung up, some things which will be substantially discarded when a new normal emerges, but there are other things that we will certainly be cherry picking the best elements from.
Superb, thank you. So just out of interest then, I mean, I've asked a lot of people this question before, but if you could go back to the 23rd of March, is there anything you would have done a little bit quicker if you knew then what you know now?
I think actually that if you like, commercially in what we've done with our clients, I'm happy with what we did. I think one of the things I wish I'd done was remember that working from home is actually very isolating. Especially for salespeople. You know, if you've had a rubbish call, there's nobody around to pick you up or just go and have a cup of coffee or some banter with. And therefore, I think keeping in touch with people while they're working from home is really important. And we now make a big effort for that. And hence our sit and sip or slurp and slouch, whatever you want to call it, just where everybody can just see everybody else and chat is important. And if we had people that were working much more regularly from home, then I think we'd keep that sort of thing up. So I think remembering to look after staff's mental well-being is probably something which it took somebody telling me 36 hours later that they'd had a really rubbish call and they'd felt down for the rest of the day. If we'd been in the office, we would have seen it, we would have heard his end of it, and it would have been back up and perky after 5 or 10 minutes. So, you know, failing on my part, you know, hold hands up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have struggled with managing teams remotely. The number of people I've spoken to that, you know, they started off lockdown, you know, they might say, yeah, we're all set up. We've got everyone working from home. They know what they're doing. We're using Microsoft Teams and what have you. And that's all well and good. They might have the right equipment set up, yeah, but they haven't necessarily got the soft systems. They haven't got the sort of frequency of meetings that they may be needed. And that's been something which a few people struggled with and took a while to come up to speed with. So that was a really valid point you made there. So just out of interest, what are you looking forward to most post-lockdown, whether it's business related or not? I don't mind.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking personally, I think hugging mates and kissing friends, preferably over a pint or two in a pub or on a beach or on a mountain, you know, so I think that's what I've missed. Commercial, yeah. Idling around the lanes in Brighton, the North Lanes in Brighton, you know, looking for a funky shirt. Commercially, I'm looking forward to a period of time when the goalposts aren't moving all the time. You know, it's interesting, but it's wet. It's stressful. So yeah, you know, I think yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, I think that I think there are lots of people. It's all well and good to embrace lockdown and say, you know, we're making these changes and everything's great, but of course there are certain things that we all miss. There are certain things which we are still unable to do now. For me, I'm just looking forward to going back to watching football matches again live rather than watching the television with no crowd, which I find a little bit strange. Well, very strange to be honest with you. And like you say, going to the pub, going out to restaurants, and just leading a normal life. But I'm hoping it's just around the corner. Unless we do a Leicester, we should be all right.
Yeah.
For anyone that's watching Leicester, I do apologise. I feel for you, and I'm hoping that you're okay because it's it's a difficult time for everyone. So
sorry, I was going to say, and getting back to see clients, you know, it's always interesting going to see clients, whether it's for a meeting or just hearing about, you know, things I've learned going to see clients, you know, and I'm actually somebody who will always say, well, if you want to show me around the factory, you know, let's have a look. And some of the things I've seen, I've been lucky over my working career. You just see interesting things, you know, which, to be honest, nobody ever sort of said in a Zoom meeting, "Oh, shall I walk you?" Well, they're at home, you know, might walk you around the garden, but nobody's going to sort of come and see the machinery we make that will knock, you know, 3,000 milk bottles an hour off a production line without breaking any of them, you know.
Exactly the same thing. Actually, when I actually engage with a client the first time I see them, I always look around the factory, the office,
Yeah.
or their workplace. And you're 100% right. You do learn a hell of a lot of stuff, not just about their business, but about the industry and also about them personally as well. So I do miss that as well. Actually, that's something which you don't get online really. And virtual can only replace so much. It can't replace absolutely everything. So I agree with that one. That would be great. So just out of interest, what would you say you've learned about yourself during this time? That's a difficult question, I know.
I think it has shown me that I still enjoy life in business. I'm still up for new situations and new challenges. And I think really that's what stimulates me. So I'm not sort of thinking, oh my God, it's all terrible. I need to throw in the towel. It's been interesting. I wouldn't want 5 years of it. But it has, it's been interesting. And so, I still get up in the morning and I enjoy going to work. I've learned I am a sociable beast. So I do miss the banter in the office. I'm lucky to work with a bunch of guys and who are interesting people, do interesting things, or frankly, sometimes just up for banter. So I am a sociable beast. See earlier comments about what am I missing? In a slightly different order: mountains, pubs, and mates. So I'll be glad to get back and seeing them. And I think also it's reminded me that if I put my mind to it, I can actually cook reasonably good food. So learn things. And our daughter came home. She's shielded. She suffers from asthma, so it's been actually great fun having a 27-year-old at home who hasn't really lived at home for 8 or 9 years. So having left a child and is now an intelligent, worldly wise, experienced woman, having one of those living in the house, apart from the wife, has also been very interesting and stimulating and interesting. So yeah,
good stuff. We've got time for one more question, Simon. So if you could just explain to myself and to everyone else listening who your ideal customer is, who you would love to bump into tomorrow that would actually help you and help Collier Pickard, what would that type of business be? What type of industry would it be? What size of business would it be in? And what would their mentality be like? That would be another thing to look for as well.
So although we deal with small clients as well as large ones with people, from single user systems to multi-hundred user sites, we do have an ideal client profile, and we call him Dictator, and the benevolent owner of a business. So he or she probably has 15 to 20 office sales, marketing and customer service staff. I call them benevolent because they're going to involve senior members of their team in the decision-making process. They can see that the business is going to give their staff personal benefits as well as giving them better management information. They could be in a whole range of sectors. CRM works for everybody. It's probably not somebody that is purely B2C. We are really a B2B business. What we can do is then help those people along the path with some of those clients. That's drawing out of them what they could achieve and the gap between where they are now and where they want to be in a better place. For a lot of clients, it's also about providing and supporting from our offices in Sevenoaks a system that will help them work the only two levers they've got: effectiveness and efficiency. And this usually involves a wish to increase revenues, reduce costs, and minimize risks is also a big benefit of a CRM system. So, people see, or these people will understand, that having a good overview of clients and prospects will improve their forecasting. That will help with cash flow and factory loading. You can see if we got an imbalance of what's coming in. And people may be looking for an exit strategy. If what's in your head is on a system, I'm sorry to say the business is worth more without you than it is if it needs you. For people in a startup situation, it's often about trying to see what's working, what isn't, because they need to be really agile. And we've tried this, we've tried that, what's working there. And for a lot of people, it's actually about getting a firmer grip. There's a feeling that we could be doing more marketing. There's a feeling we're not following up on all the inquiries. We're a feeling it's not being recorded. So, sum it up, it's about helping people to acquire, retain, and develop clients.
Fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, Simon.
My pleasure too.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to post this online, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your name in a comment underneath, just so that people can connect with you and can ask you more questions. And I'm sure that if they had questions to ask you about their CRM or a new CRM they're thinking of bringing in, while maybe they've got a bit of time on their hands, you'd be open to having discussions of that nature. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very much so. Very happy to engage with people. I always say that, sadly for me, I'm a free resource. So yeah.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for your time, Simon. I really appreciate that, and catch up soon.
Yeah, many thanks. Take care.
No problem.
Much appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Cheers all. Stay safe.
You too.
Okay.